So we're continuing on with this. South Korea is in the Northern Hemisphere, and they have built this Incheon waterway, as you can see, and connecting. It's kind of one of these cities like Tokyo, Yokohama, where you have Tokyo growing so large it just basically absorbs the next nearest large city, and that's exactly what Seoul has done. And so this waterway connecting from the port city of Incheon into Greater Seoul has been very beneficial, obviously. And if you look at that connectivity of infrastructure, the idea that we're continuing on with here is that, in a short period of time, from the early 1960s, before the turn of the 21st century, this is called the miracle of the Han River. And what economically South Korea had been able to do, jumpstart their economy, being, as I mentioned before, one of those four tigers of the Asian realm with Singapore, Hong Kong, and Taiwan, to be able to really rapidly develop their economy. And they're nearing the top 10 guys in overall economy for the entire globe. So infrastructure and being able to have these businesses thrive because of that connectivity is really something remarkable and something to be emulated if you wish to move ahead in the global economy in the grand scheme of things. Okay. So if we look back at America, of course, we've got some issues, as many places do, with landscapes in deteriorating to the point where inner city blight, like you'd see in Detroit, or and as you see here, some of the terrible remnants of the Rust Belt factories in Cleveland. They're especially the Rust Belt cities in the north have had to try to reinvent themselves and really destroy a lot of the old aspects of those cities so that they could remake them anew, but not industrial. But it's a very difficult process, and the rapid depopulation in some of these cities, the lack of a tax base as well, made it difficult to be able to clean these kinds of places up. So again, we're in transition, like a lot of places are, and trying to redesign that economy to be more in line with kind of higher tech and faster moving and services. That's a work in progress for everybody. Companies that come online, this is in your textbook, but I wanted to make sure you understood that the fortunes of any given product or a company can rise and fall very rapidly. So the textbook touts Tata Motors and this little Nano here as being, an awesome little car, but it really hasn't been adopted very well after initial sales. And in fact, I think they only produced one and sold it in about a 3 to 6 month period of time or something like that. And they don't make this car anymore. And so there are other little cars, electric cars that don't cost that much, that are out there that are more competitive. It's not to say that the Tata company, and there's a bunch of them, Tata overall as a conglomerate, you can see it here. I've put that they have Voltas and Land Rovers, Indian hotels like the Taj in Mumbai. And they even have, I wanted to show you this, they even have all kinds of housing structures, and even micro housing they're trying to develop. So lots of different things that they do, but just understand with coming out with something new and awesome, at least initially, and how quickly it can go south, like a MySpace or I don't know, I'm trying to think. Blackberries, I don't know, things like that. If you hadn't even heard of them, they were all the rage, and now they're not at all. So time progresses. Okay, looking at technology in the global south too, staying with this idea of technology, but seeing that one laptop per kid. This initiative has really been great at getting children access to knowledge and education, to help them jumpstart, obviously with education, their potential and possibilities, and inexpensive, these little inexpensive laptops that they can just send out to everybody I think this was the Bill and Melinda Gates started this. I could be wrong. You might want to double check me on that. But wonderful little initiative here to integrate the developing global South in with globalization, and hopefully that'll turn into wonderful things economically speaking, but also improve their lives and think about the possibilities that come along with that added knowledge and connectivity. It's heartwarming, in fact, to know that people can reach their full potential and then some. Anyway, just something to think about. The digital divide certainly exists across regions and even within regions or even in particular countries. So we see obviously Europe is very well connected, as well as the Americas for a large part. I have a map to show you in just a second. Obviously, the second world, the old Soviet Union and the former Soviet republics are there in the mix. But then you have the third world that we had talked about before is Asia and the Pacific and Arab states and Africa, of course. But even within that, the notation here is about within Iraq, for instance, 98% of men are connected, but only 53% of women. So there's a gender divide there. But to kind of show you what this looks like, this map is showing you where internet is present, but where population is in the blue, where there aren't many people connected to the internet. So when we see, for instance, like Central America here, certainly large swaths of Peru, especially in the Andes. Believe it or not, central part here of Spain and this area of southeastern Europe around. This is the Black Sea right here, Tehran, and Lebanon and these areas around the Eastern Mediterranean, the Levant. Certainly central parts of India. Look at, oh gosh, the Philippines doesn't look good at all. But then here we see Japan, and then this, what looks like an island is South Korea, unconnected to the mainland of Asia, but it is. North Korea is there between it, but North Korea is one of the least developed places in the world due to crappy government, if I'm just being honest. Gender inequality is certainly something to consider, not just on the internet, but in all facets. Your textbook, of course, points out that women do more than there was an old commercial used to be, what was it? She brings home the bacon and she fries it up in the pan. Was the idea that she works and does the lion's share of shopping and cooking and caretaking children, elderly. And this is still the case. We saw this from the pandemic and the shutdown, that women lost their jobs at greater rates and were still responsible for doing all sorts of things. And this is unfortunate. I don't like this in the least little bit. Just so you know, the people I love most in life are all females. I have 2 daughters, so I don't want this kind of stuff for them. When you see this imbalance, and as the graphic here shows, how little men do and how much women are expected to do in the likes of Turkey and Mexico, Estonia, New Zealand, supposedly really developed states too, right? New Zealand is on the top when we start looking at Human Development Index. But these things, like with the United States and South Korea, they're very evident. And so even progressive Sweden has a disparity between what the men and women do. And anyway, it is unfortunate, but this is the inertia of what life has always been for humans, I believe. But I think it's getting better in some ways. At least I hope it is. But maybe the pandemic laid bare some of those persistent inequalities among the sexes. So when we see this, this is that women are certainly earning less than their male counterparts, have fewer employment opportunities and choices, and again, most likely lose their jobs during the downturn, which we just saw. So what are opportunities that are being given to women? One Muhammad Yunus, who graduated from Vanderbilt University and came up with the idea of the Grameen Bank, the Village Bank, was to lend small amounts of money to women so that they could buy things that they need to start a small business. And some micro lending around $100, And to give an example, they might buy a treadle sewing machine, some bolts of cloth maybe, and they're off and running making clothing or something like that. And so we have seen this be very successful in Bangladesh and then be replicated in other ways. So if you'll take a look at kiva.org, it's well worth your time because it's a wonderful little website you can drop some money into, loan it out to people, and by and large, most of it gets paid back so that you can roll it into other loans. You don't get anything for the money except the satisfaction of having helped someone. So what, over $1.5 billion have been lent through Kiva, with 2 million lenders and nearly 4 million borrowers. But again, the success rates on return is well above 95%, meaning that those who take on the loan pay it all off again. And so when we look at the nearly 2 million loans that have been funded through Kiva in 77 different places where Kiva works in Central and South America, across Sub-Saharan Africa and Southwest Asia and South Asia, like in India, Southeast Asia, and even out through the likes of Papua New Guinea and Fiji and places in the Pacific. So we see who are the borrowers, who is most supported. 4 out of 5 women, and that's a wonderful thing because very often in these societies, if they're male dominated and he's the man that has the job, women don't have disposable income. They're not going to get it from their husband, or I mean, if they're going to get it, they're going to get it through their husband, and that may be very difficult when you're the one that needs to again, buy the groceries and prepare, having a budget for the house and always having to ask for money is not a desirable thing. So being able to earn your own money, very important aspect. Okay. Trying to see here. I've lost track of my time again. Bear with me. All right. I'm going to have to just guess on this again because I can only record for 15 minutes. Famine relief, celebrities in development. So this was the Feed the World, the Live Aid. Bob Geldof put this together. He's from Pink Floyd, if you don't know, raising lots of money for famine relief in places like Ethiopia and Somalia. As we'll see here, Michael Jackson, this is Lionel Richie right here, if you don't know, and Quincy Jones. These guys got together. This is Bob, what's his name? I can't think of his name now. Zimmerman is his name. I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Shucks, what's his name? Anyway, I've lost all these names all of a sudden. Here's the boss. Here's Kenny Loggett's Danger Zone. That's a Archer reference, Huey Lewis. Anyway, they raised a bunch of money, and you can see that it helped a lot of different countries and manifests itself over time to really help. And so with again famine, with medicines, of all sorts of things like that. But sometimes when the vigor of an individual who gets a passion about a thing takes off, but they don't know much about what they're doing, you'll see that it's a lot of money raised, but a lot of money wasted. So that's what the story is here with Madonna and the effort that she put on with the Makoko primary school with Build On. So unfortunately, it failed. And so financial mismanagement is often, it's the passion that starts, and you raise the money, but then you don't really know what you're doing and how to be effective with it. And so this is why you often hear African solutions to African problems. So it's better to raise the money and then find reputable organizations and NGOs already in the place and locals who know what they're doing and where the money best needs to go. Just hand it off to them because, again, your knowledge about it is very limited, and the effectiveness of what you've gone about to earn is going to be minimized if you insert yourself too much into it. Okay, I'm gonna beg off now, and I'll come back with the last little bit of this lecture. Okay, see you soon. Bye.